So check it out, everybody. If you haven't been paying attention, we are giving away cars and cash and changing people's lives. Now, on this one's going to be a little different. We've given away some pretty high horsepower cars, and this we're giving away. Number one reason is because it's so rare. It's one of the rarest Mopars they've ever put out. This car is less than 200 ever made. A Challenger Swinger Edition. Now, what makes it really rare is it is a 6-speed manual. It's got the shaker hood. It's got a few other bells and whistles that we'll get into later. So it's just an all-around badass car. And on top of that, it's green, which you know is my favorite color. So I started looking at the car this weekend when nobody was here, and I was like, man, I love everything about this, but it needs to have a little punch. It needs to be more badass, right? So I started thinking, what could we do to this to make it super kick-ass, have over 700 horsepower, be able to compete with what everybody loves with the Hellcat, et cetera, and so forth, and really put some power down on the ground. And I think I got the solution. I reached out to my boy John at Hellion. Now, they do some turbo kits, and not just any turbo kits, because you know, you go to a shop like mine or anybody else, and you might have to pay a whole bunch of money for all this stuff and all these different things to happen. And of course, that shop's gonna make a lot of money. So Hellion makes a kit that basically is bolt on. No fabrication needed, bolts on. You can do it in a weekend if you're a weekend warrior. You can do it with a couple of buddies if you feel like it. And I said, you know what, John? Challenge accepted. Get that stuff, get on a plane and get down here, and let's let my guys chunk one of these things on there and see if we can't throw down 700 plus horsepower. And there you go. So he's on his way. We're gonna have a little fun, and we're adding twin turbos to this brand new Dodge Challenger Swinger. So get you some of that. As soon as John gets here, I'll be back. All right, cool. So John's here. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
So is that the whole thing?
This is it right here? This is real happiness right here. This is how it starts.
Oh, happiness is horsepower.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me get my team. You know what? Who am I going to pick? Two of my guys that are over there jacking off, Josh and Ricky, and we'll take the new guy, Chris. Phipps, you just hang for a bit. If we need some trash taken out or something, I don't know. So, guys, this is John from Hellion Turbo.
Nice to meet you.
He's been doing this for a long time. What I want y'all to do is start unpacking this. Okay. This is supposed to be total bolt-on, ready to rock and roll, over 700 horsepower to the wheels on our badass Swinger Challenger.
Sweet.
Then we can have some fun.
All right.
But don't just stand there.
Get your hand off of it.
All right. So, John, while they're unpacking this stuff, how long have you guys been doing this?
This is our 20th year, Hellion Turbo. Making bolt-on turbo kits for Mustangs, Challengers, all the LX platforms, Camaro, F-150, Jeep, all the hot rods.
For a Jeep? That's crazy. Oh, like the Jeep with the 392s in it?
Yeah.
All right.
And the Trackhawks.
Oh, those things. You know what? Those boys, Farm Truck Nation, they got a hell up fast one of those.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is quick. But so what got you into it?
Started drag racing out of high school, kind of like how a lot of this starts, and basically started working on my own car. I went to a NMRA race in Georgia, and I was there, and Daryl Bassani from Bassani Manufacturing said, well, you know, how are you building all these turbo kits? You know, I said, I build them myself. I build them by hand. He said, well, you need to, you know, work with us. I'm the one that makes this type of stuff, and you need to be out here racing. So we started mass producing the kits, and it started with just a couple of little Mustang kits, and now we make bolt-on for, you know, all these late model hot rods.
How long have you been making the SRT package?
I've actually had a kit for this since 2008, because the LX platform, it's all the same. So Charger, Challenger, Magnum, 300, it's all the same system with a few tweaks. So we started with the early models, and I've actually redesigned the kit twice because the power level keeps going up and up and up. So the beauty of a turbo is that we can put these things on there. We can put the boost down 3 to 5 pounds of boost here, have some fun with it, and then turn it up later. You don't have to buy any more parts. You don't have to change any belts.
Like just turn it up like the radio knob.
Absolutely.
I love it. You mentioned earlier when I was on the phone with you about you build a badass Ford kit too.
Yeah, the Mustang, the S550 platform is amazing.
No, I was talking about the F-150 truck.
That one is, yeah, the F-150 is big right now because you can have an all-wheel drive, short bed, long bed, any of them, two-wheel drive as well. You can bolt on a twin turbo kit and go 9s.
So you buy a 4x4 truck, and you just bolt that on, and you're rolling 9s in a big truck.
on an unprepped surface.
That is freaking
because
cool.
it's all-wheel drive. And start it up, drive it every day, and the parts are strong. So it's a truck part. So this transfer case, rear end, everything's beefed up so you can really get after it.
I might have to order a truck and do that just for fun. So let's get back to the Swinger. I was actually trying to think of how to make this giveaway a little different. There's a few companies out there that do it, that modify the hell out of their cars. And on a new car that's coming, out of the factory, I like to think there's a lot of R&D going in there. But this one's a little different, and I wanted to have a little fun with it. We may do some wheels, I don't know, but I got a couple other ideas. But you're saying we can get 700 horsepower bolt-on?
Bolt-on. The engine's there. We have these great motors that they've given us, all this technology, and then the turbo technologies come along the way with us, so we don't have to strain the car. We can have a conservative 5 to 6 pounds of boost, but boost these things up to the tire beyond. It's amazing. The technology's here and the efficiency's here, and we can just put it on and go. And then later on, if you ever decide to turn it up, you don't need to change anything else. You just turn it up.
That's what I'm trying to tell all these young kids out there that, just because my generation, the tools were literally tools, and it's starting to be to where the tools are the keyboard. Yep. That's the new screwdriver. So I'd like to show the audience out there, you can do this in a weekend with your buddies, depending on how much beer you drink. Because like if it was me and my buddies, this should still be in a box and we'd be outside having some beers and making some hamburgers on the grill. But I'm going to leave the show to you guys, John, Chris, Josh, Ricky.
So I see you're going more of like a collector manifold style instead of, like your normal long tube header look with a V-band or something. What's the reasoning on it?
So our kits, we have a few different reasons. Every model has different space considerations, power considerations. So when we first started this kit, we kept the stock header and we had the turbo bolted right to the back of it. Okay. And then we needed to increase flow because the stock, they designed it to make, whatever 400 horsepower, wasn't made for this. So with this final design that we have now, this engine compartment is probably one of the tightest of all the cars that we deal with. Mm-hmm. So space is a big issue, but we want to maximize it for flow. So this is a full 3-inch, as they would call a log manifold, but it's got 2-inch primaries, which is a size that we've used well over 2,000 horsepower. So everything is built big, because you can go big, but you can go small, and then you can't change it later, but you can go this way and have the power capability for later. Okay. So this log manifold fits inside the space we need, can flow 2,000 horse, and then feeds a T4 turbo on each side. So T4 is the larger frame, so we can get we have kits that are up to twin 82s. So you're talking well over, underneath this car, well over 2,000 horse. Guys wanting to do that, it can do that. The beauty is that it doesn't have to be that way. We can set it up any way we want. And so for this kit, we've got twin 62s. These base 62s here, they will make, they can make, we're gonna set them at 5 pounds of boost. They can make it upwards of 1,300. So you order the kit, you bolt everything on, and later on you can take a boost controller like a Turbo Smart e-Boost, and you can change it up to that level as long as the fuel and engine mods are there.
You mentioned that you have a really wicked looking compressor wheel, right?
Yes, this has all been redesigned to maximize space. So we want the most powerful turbo possible that we can fit in the platform. And with the power levels going up, we had to maximize everything. So from my years of racing, the things that we've learned, we've tried to put all those attributes into what we call the street turbos. So you've got a 62 millimeter turbo with a 4-inch inlet, T4 stainless housing, T4 4-bolt inlet. This turbo alone, I mean, this is like there's some import cars that are like, that's a lot of turbocharger. We try to match the engine. So this turbo matched with this engine will have quick spooling and make peak power. So it doesn't, there's no such thing as turbo lag anymore. I mean, you're starting with a V8. I think people say, oh, turbo lag, they're thinking small engine, old technology. Now, these things make so much power, they make boost like at a high idle, like rolling into the throttle. The torque and power hits instantly, and then the power band carries all the way up. So if you have like a supercharged situation, you're belt driven, the higher the RPM goes, the higher the boost goes. So you'll watch a graph and it'll peak the power. Let's say 7,000 RPM is peak horsepower. With a turbocharger, it'll make peak boost much lower. So the boost will come on and we can hold it. So the power under the curve is huge. It's so much larger.
More
so
manageable.
a car like this, like a stick car, it's even more important because what happens when you shift? You shift it at 65, 7,000 and you pull it back down. Well, the RPM falls to what, 4,500, 5,000, whatever, and you're out of your power band. With turbos, you're still in power.
Still there.
So the
still
power is at the
boosting.
bottom of the gear and the top of the gear. So it will basically, at the end of the day, just haul ass. I mean, it's just kind of
That
the
is
nature of the beast.
trick.
But these right here combined with this platform, we've had amazing results. We just had one just last week. So this is a 62. We have a 64, so it looks the same, just a little bit bigger. 426 stroker kit with 64s with this kit, all these parts here, made over 1,630 at the tire. So
Damn.
that's where we can go and above. Do we need to? No. So the beauty of this, we're going to put it down. We're going to put it a safe 5 pounds of boost, and it's going to make a bunch more power because of the efficiency.
Damn.
We got our intercooler here. So
This looks
intercooler-
custom.
This is a standard intercooler. This is how they all come, all hand welded, American made here. This mounts in the grill. It allows airflow, air conditioning, everything works the same, and then cools your charge. So each side, each turbo enters through the bottom and then exits here, and then this gets plumbed into the intake manifold.
This is y'all's intercooler.
Correct. Yep.
No kidding. That's pretty straight, dude.
Yeah, we have to pull the front nose off to bolt this on behind the bumper.
Okay.
It's very simple. Pull it aside. We're going to pull the headers off to mount the turbo headers with the turbochargers. In this box here, we've got air cleaners and all the rest of the pieces that you'll need. We've got them all bagged up here. You guys can pull them out. But we've got TurboSmart wastegates and blow-off valve. This is a 45 millimeter hyper gate on this kit, so it's high flow for big power. V-band clamps.
Put this on the ground.
So we have a mechanical heat heat tube for the brake lines, or if anywhere is, everything's been engineered over years and years of work to this point where we have success. So anything that's in this box has a lot of thought to it. Anything that's in here is done for a reason. We take feedback as we've gone along. Any business as you've gone along. If something changes, we adapt instantly. If something comes from the factory different, or if there's a bracket in the way, or there's something different that we need to know, we take that feedback and we change it instantly. We don't just send out some box and say, good luck, get the saw out. That's not how we do it.
So basically, I have this car. I buy this kit. I'm not running back and forth to O'Reilly's or AutoZone or something. Everything's here.
Everything is in here. All the bolts. We look at in the inside here. Every fitting, everything on the checklist is packaged in order on the checklist. So if you're trying to see, what piece I need, if you go down the checklist, it'll tell you what it is here. The intake pipe is powder coated black, so it's clean. The black inlet is a factory looking pipe that you'll see when this goes on here. We have a mechanical scavenge pump that we designed.
Okay.
That scavenges the oil. So the turbos,
Oh, no kidding.
the turbos are mounted underneath, next to the transmission, next to your feet. Well, so the engine oil pumps down to the turbos. We send this pump kit that bolts to the front, and it sucks the oil out of the turbos and pumps it back into the oil cap. So no drilling of the pan, no cutting. Everything is a bolt-on situation. So you can put it on. If you ever wanted to take it off, buy a new car, put it on that car, you put everything back.
No modifying your original equipment.
Nope.
That is awesome.
O2 extensions, pipes, hoses, clamps, everything you need. Lots of fun.
This is cool.
And I think if you're looking to do this in your house, projects, if you enjoy having a project, this is that type of project that we can do. We've made it to where it's turned into this. I know you guys, the projects that you've had in here are these immaculate, in-depth, lots of customization. We've tried to make it simple and bolt on so that you can have a car. You buy it, put it on and go. And that's what we've done here.
Man, it's awesome. It's crazy to think like you can buy something that's going to put that much horsepower down, that much performance, and literally the whole kit comes, because everybody says that, we got everything there. You're still running up the street to go buy, the zip ties, the heat shields, everything that y'all provided. That's crazy. And
it's knowing all those things that have, what you need if the factory changes it. And we try to put it in there so that you guys are, don't lose any time when you're working on it. But with this, the power has gone up in the cars from the factory. So now we need to increase the capability of what we offer. So when I started doing this in 2004, a 2004 Mustang, the horsepower, I mean, it's just not what it is today.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it was, but it wasn't as fun. So the turbo kit we made back then, we would be happy with 450 horsepower out of a 2-valve Mustang. Well, now we're starting with 400 something horsepower. The capability now goes to where, we can make this 600, 700, 800. I mean, this is the glory days. This is it. This is, it's not going to get any more exciting than this, and we're excited to be part of it.
It's enough talking. Let's get this thing done.
Let's do it. Rock and roll. As you guys can tell here, this is a large V8 engine in a small spot, and it's the strut towers here. So a lot of times you'll see turbo kits, and they'll mount the turbos up top, and that's great if it's designed and you have the space. For this platform, the best spot is where the factory likes to put them, which is down next to the engine, right by the oil pan on the sides. We leave all of this alone. Everything is good looking. The shaker's gonna stay. We're gonna have that intake pipe, that black powder coated pipe is gonna enter right here. Everything's gonna look great on top. The turbos are in the best position to make power on the underside.
So you're telling me that the average guy walks up and pops his hood, he ain't got no clue.
No, we actually call them, it's the ultimate street sleeper, because they won't know unless you started it or you heard it come in. It's gonna look just like this.
Yeah.
In fact, the pipe we sent on a closed airbox, so this is the open airbox, right? Because the high performance, the regular airbox is closed. You can run the pipe. We designed, it's got a little kick to it.
Okay.
It goes through the stock airbox, so it looks like it's got a stock air cleaner.
No kidding. That's cool.
Yeah, you just come up through the bottom of it and it sneaks through there. So that's an option depending how you want to look at it, but it's, that's something that we do as an advantage. So if somebody were, wondering what you've done, you can tell them there's nothing or everything, as we like to say. So.
That's awesome, man. The ultimate sleeper.
So I'm sure everybody would want to know. We sent the PCM ECU to you guys ahead of time. Could you explain a little bit about that, how that would work?
Exactly. So when we add a power adder, we're going to add more air and fuel to the engine. So we've got to make the changes in the programming of the ECU to compensate for that. Yeah. So this is going to be tuned with HP tuners. The computer was sent away to be unlocked. So 2015 and newer, they have to unlock the ECU. The ECU will be tuned. Jeremy Cetera at Cetera Tuning is going to remote tune this and send a file that we plug in under the dash, flashes it for the larger injectors and the turbo kit. It's going to fire right up, drive like it does now, except when you go under boost, it's going to have the fuel to make the power.
Very cool, very cool. How long does it typically stay out, the ECU? Like when you send it off, what's usually the return time?
If you send it, usually it's a day or two at the most. You can if you're trying to plan the install, our first instruction is take the ECU and send it away. So by the time you can get it back overnighted back, you can be back in business. Or before you start the install, you can send it away, have it done. It'll still drive, everything's the same, so that when you're ready to flash it, you can. So you just plan a little bit ahead, but it's really not too much of a delay. All
right, well, I guess we need to start looking at some instructions and getting on this, huh?
I think so. Let's get underneath it.
Let's go.
It's actually probably best that I'm getting started on this because Chris has done a bunch of these cars already, so it'd be harder for him to follow the instructions. I'm following it step by step.
You didn't read the important part of the instructions. This thing is for transportation, not for being on there at all times, so you might want to take that off while you're under there. Okay. Unless you're super cool and you take over like intersections and do burnouts and throw fireworks everywhere, and you leave this on so the cops can find you.
Bye-bye. Don't need that anymore. I'm starting to remember what it was like being in school because I suck at following directions. I have to keep like going back over here. Don't hardly ever read the instruction manual. But I have learned that it is best to do that because I've built some furniture and I've had to live with it either upside down in one spot, something, or I've had to redo it. So this is a bolt-on kit, so I want to give it its, see what like just an average dude with a toolbox can do at home. Because that's all I am, just an average dude with a toolbox up here at Gas Monkey Garage.
Ricky, did you loosen this, or was this loose already?
I did not, but those fender nuts weren't tight either. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, this is back all the way off right here.
Whee! The bolts aren't tight, but the rubber Rubber's tight. That is really tight. There he goes.
I am trying to get the exhaust loose off of the stock manifolds so we can get those very nice headers on there to bolt those little swirly boys. They're really tight, so I'm busting out the big boy.
This motor's gonna be so sweet. It's got super idler, twin turbos, double plugs per cylinder, and it's a 6.4, 475 horsepower, 16 spark plugs. I love bottom end torque.
It's good.
I can't beat Josh. He did such a good job. He's so talented with his mouth.
I think that was the best one.
That might be our runner-up.
How was that?
That was pretty solid.
Threw a blow-off valve in there too.
This one ain't on?
I don't know, like a high-pitched wail or a scream, like an eagle coming down to grab like an inferior animal and eat it. Something like that.
Sure.
These are the stock injectors in this car. Don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's 4 little holes right there in the center. And that's what does your atomization, your pattern. So this will inject it in 4 little holes, as this one, which is the new injector, has 1 single ball bearing. It looks like a ball pin there. That'll inject 1 solid stream. So when you're on boost, it just works so much better.
Got the manifold out, the stock manifold. This big old thing. And here is our new turbo manifold. So, you know, there you go. Smaller and gonna make more power. Help us make more power. It's pretty cool how they did this. This is changing the game. That really is, because that's something, like I said before, always scared me away from turbos, was all the fab work you had to do. And it's cool that we got all this in a kit. It's a great time. Love America. You know, life on a creeper is much better. Right now.
It's going in, Ricky.
Great.
This means power.
That's what we want. Lots and lots of power. Mopar, baby.
Look, you've already started admitting that LSs are better, and now it's about to be a Mopar. Pretty soon the Ford's just going to be out.
No, LSs are better for swaps. Better for swaps.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. They just swap better.
Yeah, what else do you want me to say?
Would you swap a Mustang motor or a Ford motor into a Chevy? Or would you just keep the LS in there?
Well, I would keep the LS in there.
Okay, why, Ricky?
Because it's already in there and you
Is
can
it?
make power with it.
Would you swap an LS into your Ford though?
No.
You lying?
I'm not lying. Not lying.
The conversations we have on the way to work are completely different than when he gets in front of y'all on the camera.
Wait, which Ford are we talking about?
Any?
Yeah, I should have done it to my 97, absolutely. Should have took the 4.6 out, used it for an anchor in the lake, put LS in there.
So
Absolutely.
the whole time we was building that Cody, you wasn't sitting there going, damn, it was a lot better doing this LS.
No, it's definitely a lot more work. But I'm just saying, if you've already got the Coyote, you've already got a Coyote control pack, so it's not a
He
big
just
deal.
don't want to admit it. That's it.
No, the Coyote makes more horsepower. I'm all about fucking power.
You're so full of- Like, you know what? Y'all tell us in the comments what you think. What's the better engine? Let's get this whole fight going, Ricky.
It's a big motor. Displacement. There's no replacement. You know it. We got the new headers bolted in. Chris is putting the valve cover back on right now. We're going to work on getting a oil pump scavenger pulley. This is going to mount to the crankshaft into the harmonic balancer. And then we're going to mount a bracket that's going to hold an external oil pump. Chris has got it right there. And that's basically a scavenger pump. It's going to scavenge the oil, you know, from the turbos back to the engine. I have strategically worked in a way that Chris would be working on the radiator fan shroud while I get to put the first downpipe on. The decision is going to be how to mount, where to put the clamp. I like that. That'd be easy to tighten. That's pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Hellion. This is the exciting part. That's the look of money right there. That's a real O2 sensor. Wideband. Tell us our air fuel ratios. I do have one turbo kind of pretty much all done. Just retighten the turbo so it's ready. I got to finish up this side and then it's on to intercooler and then a little bit of stuff inside the car, and I really hope to get this baby down and start it today. So that's kind of my goal. Hopefully we get there. So here we go, we got our intercooler. It's pretty nice looking actually. So while we're using an intercooler, and why you use intercooler on turbo system is the turbos are using the exhaust to spin a turbo basically, and that turbo is spinning from the exhaust pressure and it's sucking in air and compressing it from the turbo into this intercooler into the engine. Since that air is being compressed and it's coming from a turbo that is being driven by exhaust, you use an intercooler. Our twin turbos are pumping in the bottom. Coming out here going straight to the intake. So I hope that helps. I hope it's a layman's easy term. I'm definitely not the best at explaining, you know, the top of the turbo knowledge, but there you go. All right, now let's go over everything that I put on so far from the kit. We got our big intercooler up front here. We got intercooler piping running down under here, which comes straight to our turbos. We got twin turbos on, mounted to these down pipes that are connected to the headers that came in the kit. We got our wastegates installed. We got our O2 sensors back in. We got our oil check valves in. We're running oil check valves on the turbo line and on a oil recirculation line. We got a additional wideband O2 sensor in here that is going to go to the gauge that we're installing in the car, and we're going to be able to meter how the car is running and report that back for tuning. That's something that's added to this car. It did not come stock with a wideband O2. We got so all this back here to here is part of the kit. This gives us new cats. It's all pre-bent, went right in. So that pretty much covers what I've done so far. Of course, got the intake tube on up front and the blow-off valve. So we've gapped spark plugs, just put some fresh Castrol edge in there. Getting really close, fixing to go to the inside of the car and start working behind the dash to do a jumper wire, and we should be ready to start this thing by the end of the day.
I'm working on this little gauge right here. That's for the AFRs, that's hooked up to the wideband sensor underneath. Very limited on room on where we want to put it. We don't really want to show it or be on the dash anywhere. So we actually have the glove box out, and this is the back inside piece of the glove box. So I'm making a little bracket with ABS. Gonna put in this little pocket right here, and you don't really need to look at it unless it's getting tuned, and the tuner's the one that's gonna be looking at it. So this is gonna be a good little spot where it's hidden. It's there, but it's hidden. So there it is. There is the bezel for the little gauge that's gonna be sitting in there. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is this gauge for? Why do you want to know what numbers go through this little gauge and tell your tuner? Well, it gives you a little ratio on how your air fuel is that's going through the engine. While when you're boosting it, you don't want it to be too lean, but you also don't want it to be too rich. Somewhere in the happy median where the engine is feeling good and not want to destroy itself and knocking. So that's the reason you want to have one if you're boosting, or if you're just curious and want to know what you're having in your car. That's a good thing to know. It's in there, it works, and it's hidden and clean.
All right, I'm so happy now. Got the last part on. Just got to put the front end on this thing, and we are going to be ready to drive. I can't tell you how excited I am, Kenny, to get to drive this twin turbo Challenger. It's going to be the hard part, is driving it nice, smooth, and easy without going full throttle.
You're still gonna do full throttle though.
So check it out. This is cool to me, but it's off a little bit. I don't like the way that the wheels are not the exact color of the hood scoop.
Yeah, they're a little darker, it looks like.
And well, it's almost like they have a little bronze in them too, isn't it?
I agree.
So I'm considering having the wheels done also, but for now, I want to paint this shaker hood flat.
We actually have another one of those shakers that's black.
Yeah, but I
already.
think it's gloss, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, but I think it says something on
It
it.
says 392, but it's a decal. It's a sticker. Or,
Well, this is
a 392.
This is a 392. It's a scat pack.
so if you want, we can set that on there before we paint this one, and you can look at it and be like, yeah.
Okay, let's look
And
at it.
then, all right.
I know what you're talking about. It's over there on my side, right?
Yeah.
Where I keep all my crap. All right, cool. Let's do that.
All right. That was easy.
Man, there we go. We got our twin turbo tune loaded into the car. Now it's time to go do some test drives. What a great time in America that we're out here driving this car around with the air conditioner on,
We
setting
need it.
twin turbos.
We need it right now.
Yeah.
It's hot outside.
Let's go. Hear them turbos, turboskis.
So my job is kind of just looking over everything, making sure there's nothing too crazy that's happening. And then once we get down to the wide open throttle, little AFR gauge that's down there, just got to make sure he said between 10.5 to 11.5 AFRs. So if it gets anywhere below that or above that, we need to stop.
Very nice. Car's gonna make somebody really happy. Man, with the twin turbos on here, even just at cruising speed and stuff, the car just feels a lot lighter and a lot happier. Just way more snap to it. It's a much happier car now. This car really needed these twin turbos. It's a tribute to the last muscle cars, and it needs to have some muscle. It definitely has it now. This car is so much better than it was at first. I like it. I love it now. So much better. The car is so happy. It's what it should have been, maybe from the factory, but it's a little more than it should have been. But I love it now. This thing is so awesome. Now I don't know which one my favorite is between this and the Demon. I feel like you'd have to own both of them because you want to have the manual to go have some fun in, take the Demon to the drag strip. So yeah, it's a very complicating life now. This complicates my life so much because this car is so much fun, and it was not this way stock. Okay, so for a 23 Scat Pack Challenger, the Hellion Turbo Kit is a must. You cannot buy this car and think that that's going to make you happy. This turbo kit is absolute must for sure, because it turned this car into what it should be. It feels like a muscle car, but it's got all the creature comforts of a modern car, and it is awesome.